What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 NASCAR Cup Series drivers who could retire at the end of the 2023 season. This upcoming silly season is expecting to be a lot of changes, including some potential retirements. Today, let's talk about 5 drivers who could retire at the end of this upcoming season. The first driver who potentially could retire at the end of the 2023 season is a driver of the 4-car for Truex Racing, Kevin Harvick. This will be Kevin Harvick's 23rd NASCAR Cup Series season, 22nd full-time season, as in 2001 he did not run the full season as he missed the first race at Daytona 500. Kevin Harvick in his career has accomplished by winning 60 NASCAR Cup Series races, a championship in 2014, has won the Daytona 500, that back in 2007, has won 2 or 3 Coca-Cola 600s, won the Southern 500 in 2020 and in 2014, and has also won the Brickyard 400 3 times. Now, Kevin Harvick's an interesting one. I think this one is the most likely of anybody on this list because Kevin Harvick has indicated there is a very strong possibility he could retire. Now, very recently he said it's 50-50, but I think the chances for Kevin Harvick to retire at the end of 2023 are actually a lot higher, and there's a lot of reasons. Number one, I think one of the biggest reason that he could actually retire at the end of the series is Kevin Harvick at the end of 2023 is going to be 48 years old. And I do have a feeling in 2023, Kevin Harvick is going to have a little bit of a drop-off in performance. Now, that's not to say that he's a bad driver per se. That could just be a thing that happens to Stewart-Haas Racing. Now, to be fair, in 2022, Kevin Harvick did score 2 victories and probably should have made it farther in the playoffs than he did. But I got a feeling in 2023, Kevin Harvick is going to drop off just a little bit. I don't even know if finishing the top 10 in the standings near the end of the season. But I think this will be his last season in 2023. And I think that Ryan Preece is going to take over that 4-car. I just think with his age and all that kind of stuff, I think that's really going to play a factor for Kevin Harvick. And usually drivers retire to around the 44 to 45 range, even sometimes the 42 to 43 range. And Kevin Harvick is a lot older of a driver now. And I do think another big thing that really can play a factor in him retiring as well is Keelan. Keelan Harvick at the end of 2023, I believe, will be 11 years old, and he's also racing as well, and he's getting close to having a potential possibility of racing in NASCAR. I believe he could be 15 or 16 years of age to make ARCA West and ARCA East starts. You can be a little bit younger and get an opportunity to race. So I think Kevin Harvick is going to want to be at the Sun as well. So I think this is the most likely. I think the chance of him retiring are about 80 to 20. So 80% chance I think he retires at the end of 2023. The second driver who could retire at the end of the 2023 season is the driver of the 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing, Martin Truex Jr. I think Martin Truex Jr. is the second most likely driver to retire at the end of 2023, and I don't know, I'll talk about my predictions on that, but Martin Truex Jr. at the end of the 2023 season is going to be 43 years old. And Martin Truex Jr. originally was actually going to retire at the end of 2022, but changed his mind at Nashville earlier this year and decided he's going to come back in 2023. Now, Martin Truex Jr. is a year-by-year basis. There is a possibility to come back in 2024, but also retire in 2023. Personally, I think that 2023 is going to be the last year for Martin Truex Jr. I feel like over the last couple years, Martin Truex Jr. has started to kind of fall off. Now, in 2021, he did score 4 victories, but he was extremely inconsistent. In 2020, he only scored 1 victory. But in 2022, Martin Truex Jr. failed to score a victory in the season for the first time since 2014. Now, that's not to say Martin Truex Jr.'s career has been absolutely incredible. He's had a really awesome career and really has had one of the most incredible careers I've seen for a driver no one really thought was going to be as successful as he has been. He's had a fantastic career. He's won like 30 NASCAR Cup Series races. He's won the Southern 500. He's won the Coca-Cola 600. Had one of the most dominating NASCAR races he's ever had. In fact, probably one of the most dominant races we've ever seen from a single driver. And what Martin Truex Jr. has been able to accomplish in racing is incredible. But I think there's other outside factors that could play a role that I'm not going to get into, but there's other outside factors that could play a major role in Martin Truex Jr. retiring. And look, Martin Truex Jr., like Kevin Harvick, is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's been able to accomplish a lot of great things. Has been able to do a lot of great stuff in this sport. So I think Martin Truex Jr., that's likely going to be his last year in 2023. I would say currently for Martin Truex Jr. right now, I would give it a 75-25. I think Truex, there is a small glimpse of possibility because it's year-by-year basis, and he could change his mind where he does. But I think more than likely he is going to retire at the end of 2023. I say 75 to 25 is going to be a likely chance of Truex Jr. retiring in 2023. The third driver who could retire at the end of 2023 season is the driver to the 10 car for Stewart-Haas Racing, Aric Almirola. Now, something to know about Aric Almirola, he actually was going to originally retire at the end of 2022, but changed his mind for multiple reasons. One, his family let him go back and do more racing. He actually asked his family. His family said, "We still love you going out and race," so he decided to return. Another big factor is that Smithfield money. Smithfield is paying a lot of money to Stewart-Haas Racing, and if Aric Almirola did retire like he initially was going to do, they would have dropped a lot of their funding with Stewart-Haas Racing. It's not safe to say they would have left the team. I'm thinking, though, they probably would have paid a lot less money and a lot less races for whoever was going to get in the 10 car. Yes, Gene Haas has a lot of money, but I don't think Gene Haas completely just wanted to pay completely out of pocket for one driver to run it, if that makes any sense. Now, talking about Aric Almirola's career, Aric Almirola's had an up-and-down career. He's had 3 wins in the NASCAR Cup Series, including a really dominant, one of the fastest cars in New Hampshire. He's had a couple races where it's kind of gone his way, 2014 at Daytona, a rain-shortened victory, and then, of course, in 2018 at Talladega. Now, Aric Almirola's career will be remembered in a very decent way. He kind of got screwed in 2007 in that race at Milwaukee. He actually got credited with the win, but got let go of that ride early. Now, let's talk about the percentage chances of Aric Almirola retiring in 2023. I would say it's a 70-30. I think this one is also very, very likely because Aric Almirola will be 39 years old at the end of 2023. But it also is a prime for drivers. Now, one thing you know is Aric Almirola does have a multi-year deal with Stewart-Haas Racing. However, I do think there is a very strong possibility but he may break that clause early, especially since that second year in that multi-year agreement is an option season. So I think it's actually very likely that Aric Almirola is actually going to retire at the end of 2023. I would say it's 70-30. I would say that number has kind of decreased for me just a little bit over time. It was a 75-25 up until recently. Now I think it's 70-30. I think Almirola is going to want to go out there and get a bang and really want to go out there and win a lot. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens with Aric Almirola. But I think that this next season could potentially be his last year in the NASCAR Cup Series. The fourth driver who could retire at the end of 2023 season is a driver of the number 34 car for Farmer Motorsports, Michael McDowell. Now, Michael McDowell is coming off of a really, really strong 2022 season, having his best career year up to date, except he did not win a race, but he still had a really great year, led the most laps he's ever led in a season, and was up front a lot more consistently. Now, Michael McDowell is a year-by-year basis, and at this point, it's actually not been announced he's driving to 34 yet. However, I don't see him changing that. McDowell's been one of the most successful drivers in Farmer Motorsports history. I'm not expecting any changes in regard to that. But Michael McDowell is very similar age Aric Almirola. He will be 39 years old at the end of 2023. And like I said, Michael McDowell is a case-by-case basis on a year-by-year basis. You also think about Zane Smith. Zane Smith currently drives the number 38 for Farmer Motorsports in the Camp World Truck Series and is going to run around 5 to 6 races with Farmer Motorsports in the 2023 season in the Cup Series, including in the 2023 Daytona 500. Therefore, I think one of the reasons they have Zane Smith making select starts because they probably think Michael McDowell is going to retire. But a thing that could change that is how McDowell performs. Because McDowell also is going to have a new crew chief as well. He will not have Blake Harris in 2023. He will have Travis Peterson, who has made some starts as a crew chief, working as a crew chief for RFK the last couple of seasons. And I don't remember if he was a crew chief or not when Chris Buescher won the race. But Michael McDowell, I think the chances of McDowell retiring, I would say right now are 60 and 4. I'll say 55 and 45. It's very in between for me. I'm leaning slightly he might retire at the end of 2023 to give Zane Smith an opportunity to drive in Cup, especially since Zane Smith will be around 24, 25 years old, and that's kind of the average age when guys are getting in the Cup Series nowadays on a full-time basis, and Zane does have a little bit of Cup experience now. But I think McDowell's chances are a little bit higher, but not as high as other drivers. I say 55-45 is the likely of Michael McDowell retiring at the end of 2023. And the fifth and final full-time driver who could retire at the end of 2023 is a driver of the 11 car, Denny Hamlin. Now, Denny Hamlin, I think it is very unlikely he'll retire at the end of 2023, but Denny Hamlin is in a very interesting position because Denny Hamlin is in a contract year with Joe Gibbs Racing. Now, FedEx is also in a contract year, and if FedEx leaves, Denny Hamlin will probably leave Joe Gibbs Racing to go to 23XI Racing. But what's stopping Denny Hamlin from maybe retiring and focusing on being owner of 23XI Racing? This would play major roles in Joe Gibbs Racing. It would hurt Joe Gibbs Racing because Joe Gibbs Racing would lose all of that veteran presence. But when it comes to Denny Hamlin, I think Denny Hamlin, like I said, is the least likely to retire. Currently, at the moment right now, I would say Denny Hamlin is probably at a 30-70%. 30 being he will, 70% he will not. And I'll explain why. I think Denny Hamlin still wants to go out there and win a championship. However, in 2022, Denny Hamlin kind of had a little bit of a struggling season. One of his worst career seasons, at least in the first half. However, in the second half of the year, Denny Hamlin really came into play. However, I'm very worried going down the road. The longer Denny Hamlin stays, the worse he's going to get when it comes to statistics. Not saying Denny Hamlin's a great bad driver or nothing. I just think the older you get, unless you're Mark Martin or maybe even Kevin Harvick, normally you do start falling off around that 43 to 44 age range. Denny Hamlin at the end of 2023, he'll be 43 years old. So he's one of the oldest full-time NASCAR Cup Series drivers currently at the moment. Which if he starts falling off and doesn't actually want to go drive for his own team, which he did say that if he does lose FedEx and that FedEx funding, he would go drive for his own organization. But what if Denny Hamlin basically decides to go ahead and says, no, I want to go ahead and retire? He would go focus on full-time being an owner. That is a very big possibility, and that actually could be a really strong possibility heading into 2023. But we're going to have to wait and see what happens. I think Denny Hamlin is a 30-70%. I think it's very unlikely. He's the least likely of anybody on this list, but anything is possible in NASCAR. So those are all the full-time drivers. I'm going to mention a couple names of two drivers who I think will retire officially. Kurt Busch, I think Kurt Busch is very likely to retire at the end of 2023 completely. Now, if he's medically cleared to race in NASCAR, he will run a few select races. He's got a couple races on his bucket list. Maybe he decides to run the Daytona 500, if that's possible. We'll have to wait and see. And then Jimmie Johnson. I think Jimmie Johnson will run a few Cup starts, and I don't think he returns in 2024. Jimmie will be 49 by start of 2024. Actually 48 by the start of 2024. So I think next year will be Jimmie Johnson's last year running part-time as well. I think it was confirmed today he'll run 5 to 6 races. We'll have to wait and see how it happens, including the Daytona 500. So that's going to be it for today's special NASCAR video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel, notifications on, to be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links description below over that, and comment your thoughts on today's video. What are your thoughts about the 5 drivers could retire, and who is the most likely of these 5 drivers that will retire at the end of 2023? Let me know in the comments below. Tomorrow on my channel, we're going to take an early look at what's been confirmed so far for the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series lineup. And also later today, I will be potentially doing a thank you for 1,500 subscribers video on the channel. But we're going to have to wait and see if I do put that out or not. Just keep your notifications on. He's got a lot of content on the way as well. Monday will be a NASCAR News and Motorsports News catch-up video on the last couple days. On Tuesday will probably be another maybe team preview. We'll have to wait and see. And we've got other content dropping on the channel the rest of the week as well. So anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for some more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.